What up?
Hi. I'd like to talk to you today about childhood asthma and the long-term effects that it has and the effects that the environment can cause on it. This is an informative speech. Its purpose is to educate you and to try and give you some information that can be used to prevent further stresses with the asthma. I don't know if you've ever had a friend and you've been laughing and giggling and then they just couldn't breathe anymore, but that's what asthma does to you. It restrains your airway, causes you discomfort so that you can't breathe and you can't function normally. Childhood asthma is related to hereditary dysfunction. It is passed down through generations, but another leading cause of it is environmental causes, such as pollutants, smoke, and pet dander. All of these things can develop asthma and cause you to have an asthma attack. Childhood asthma, the Academy of Allergy, Asthma, and Immunology reports that in 2007, there were over 20 million Americans that had asthma. These are adults and children at this time, so it's something that our entire nation struggles with. And it's something that is not curable, but you can grow out of it. So they haven't found a cure, but you can develop an immunity to it. It's a circumstance in which the tubes carry air down into your lungs, and then they're hyperactive and extra sensitive, which makes you feel short of breath, and it means that the following has arose in your lungs. The smooth muscle in the walls and the airway spasm, and they constrict, which causes them to close. And the inner lining and breathing tubes become filled with excessive fluid, which causes it for you to be hard to breathe. So now that I've explained a little bit about the background of asthma and how it works and how it can disable you, we'll talk about some of the signs, the causes, and the triggers of asthma. So an article from the New England Journal of Medicine in 1995 stated that asthma is the main cause is hereditary, and it will be passed down from generations. However, that is not the only cause, as we covered earlier. Recently, the American Academy of Pediatrics published a journal about childhood environmental health problems, in which it stated avoiding environmental allergies and irritants is one of the primary goals in good asthma management. So by avoiding some of these things, you can maintain better health. A recent study also reported that over half of practicing pediatricians surveyed were not trained in the to ask for the environmental history in children when they report signs of asthma. So therefore the link to hereditary or causes of the environment has just recently been discovered. In most cases, asthma usually begins in childhood. It doesn't usually develop in your adult life unless you're a smoker. And as children grow, the severity of asthma either increases or decreases, so it can go either way. You have a 50-50 shot with that. So now that we've discussed some of the causes and triggers, let's discuss the symptoms of asthma. The first thing, breathing becomes really difficult. You have a shortness in breath. Your airways start to swell, which causes the air not to flow through, and it's your breathing to be restricted. People who are victims of asthma usually have chest pains that come with that because of the wheezing and the discomfort and how hard it is to breathe. Case studies that focused on pollens, mold, animal dander, insect parts, and some chemicals, as well as cigarette smoke, dust, gas, and diesel fumes, are also known causes or triggers of asthma. Exposure to environmental tobacco smoke and exposure to motor vehicle emissions are both very familiar irritants of asthma. When you have an asthma attack, you can use an inhaler, an automatic inhaler, to get relief from that. And so it just goes in here and you put it in your mouth and squirt, and it opens up your airways and causes you to be able to breathe again. However, if the asthma attack is left for too long, you actually have to go into the hospital and have oxygen mixed with albuterol to relieve your breathing and the constriction in your airways. Another daily maintenance is the Advair discus. This actually has a steroid in it that is used to strengthen the lungs and to cause them to be stronger and to minimize your asthma attacks. So after looking at the signs, causes, and symptoms, we'll now look at how the environment affects asthma itself. Environmental pollutants that may affect asthma and its severity are as we discussed earlier, cigarette smoke, vehicle emissions, and pollen, dust mites, things that you can find every day in your home. The pollutant might act as an inciter or trigger your asthma, or it might be something that leads up to an asthma attack and makes the airways hyper-responsive and makes them constrict. The pollutants can either irritate a previous condition in asthma, or they can cause a new one. And it might augment or modify immune responses to inhaled antigens and intensify the effect of other pollutants in the environment, causing your asthma to inflame. These studies that show that onset childhood asthma is related both to hereditary as well as environmental factors. And they also show that there's not a cure. It will either go away on its own, or it can be managed through responsible use of medications, as well as keeping your home clean and free of dust and allergies, pet dander, and staying away from areas where there is cigarette smoke or heavy vehicle emissions. So, in conclusion, we figured out that the main cause of asthma is hereditary, and that it is passed down, but that it can also be contracted through the regular environmental factors. The causes and symptoms are very familiar. You have trouble breathing, your airways constrict, you are fatigued from it, and it actually can cause you to have skin discoloration and pass out. Asthma is a disease that affects the airways and breathing passages in a person's body completely. Exposure to many environmental factors makes it worse. The Academy of Pediatrics published a book saying that avoiding environmental allergens and irritants is one of the primary goals of good asthma management. Good asthma management is the key. So with this information, as well as with the help of the medications I described and your asthma being kept and monitored under control, you can live a healthy, nice life where you can breathe. That's it. Thank you.
Good job.